Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, who is a member of the House Oversight and Reform Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for your time. I first want to get your reaction to what we just heard there from Raf Sanchez on the situation in East Jerusalem and the developments generally that have been playing out.
I mean, this is an apartheid system, Ayman. I mean, Israel's own prominent human rights organization, B'Tselem, has declared it. Human Rights Watch has declared it. And Palestinians on the ground have been telling us for decades that their homes have been demolished, that they've been targeted, that violence has been met by Israeli-led forces under Netanyahu's racist policies. What we're really telling Palestinians fighting apartheid is the same thing being told to my fellow Black Americans across our country here and that are fighting against police brutality. There is no form of acceptable resistance to state violence, except for the denial of, people's human dignity. And we need to stop. We need to stop and look at the fact that our own country is enabling it with billions of dollars every year being issued to Israel, even though they are promoting racism and dehumanization.
So to that point, the White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan spoke with his Israeli counterpart. He expressed the United States' concerns over the violent confrontations in Jerusalem. Do you think the Biden administration needs to take a stronger stance right now towards Israel for the developments that we're seeing there?
Absolutely. We need to hold the international human rights laws that are saying to our folks across the country that they have to abide by. Well, why not Israel? Why not saying to Netanyahu currently, who is, running on anti-Arab rhetoric consistently, accepting violence by allowing Israeli police and military forces to side with Israeli citizens who are literally physically throwing people out of their homes. U.S. taxpayer dollars should not be used to commit human rights violations. That needs to be said. I have yet to hear anybody from the Biden administration declare that our money will not be used to degrade, to dehumanize, and to kill or evict people out of their homes.
So let's talk about the role of Congress for a moment. Members of your party have been very critical on social media of what the Israeli government is doing to Palestinians. Do you think there is a bigger role for members of Congress and certainly among American politicians to actually translate these words that we're seeing on social media to actual action on the ground?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to see more and more of my colleagues. I mean, right now, 75% of them, about over 300 of them, did sign a letter to say we're going to support Israel unconditionally, even though we're seeing children on the ground dying. We're seeing people completely being stripped of their homes, their human dignity. And look, Ayman, for me, this is very personal. My mother grew up in Palestine during occupation. My grandmother still lives there. I have seen them going through checkpoints. I have prayed with my grandmother at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And I'm telling you, I mean, you kneel down and you have nothing. You're just praying to God, and especially during the holy month of Ramadan. I can't express to my colleagues, speak up. We cannot allow this kind of direct attack using our own money. When are we going to speak up against this kind of brutality? Enough is enough.
Congressman, allow me to switch topics for a moment while I have you. I wanted to ask you about Wednesday's hearing with former President Trump's defense secretary and acting attorney general at the House Oversight Committee, which you're a member of. The hearing is on the events surrounding the January 6th insurrection. What are some of the lingering questions that you hope to have answered?
I think it's important for many of the folks listening. And look, we saw what kind of presence there was of Capitol Police and kind of militarization from Black Lives Matter protests, civil rights protesters, those fighting for access to women's health care. We did not see that kind of presence when it was very clear that white supremacist groups came to harm members of the United States Congress, came to basically attack our democracy. And so my question is, why is there such a lack of courage or political will within these agencies that seem to show up when there are folks that look like me protesting against inequality, against police brutality, and so much more issues that are, the ills of our society. But when these folks are very clear, not only on social media, but when they showed up, from not only erecting literally hanging and saying they're going to lynch colleagues, hunting down the Speaker of the House. Why wasn't there the same type of approach that we saw in the past, again, with people of color and others that are fighting maybe it be freedom, access to healthcare, or to saying enough with racial injustice in our country. And so for many of myself and many of my colleagues, we ask the questions constantly, why? Why was there a difference? Why wasn't there the same kind of presence on January 6th?
If we can talk about Michigan politics for a moment, part of your district includes your home city of Detroit, obviously. The police chief there, James Craig, a Republican, just announced that he's retiring. He is expected to launch a challenge to Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who's up for re-election next year. He has been, he's running as a Republican, obviously. He has been critical of your statements on policing issues across the country. What do you make of his potential candidacy?
Well, I've had deep disagreements with the chief, and he knows it. And so many of my constituents I serve have said the same thing. From spending millions of dollars on racist facial recognition technology to brutalizing people who are exercising their First Amendment right to proclaim that Black lives do indeed matter in our country. No matter his next moves, he's going to have to answer why he took those actions and why, after spending all of those resources, our resources, on over-policing and broken racist technology, do people continue to feel unsafe in the city I represent? I hope this creates a conversation, not only nationally, but also right here at home in the city of Detroit, about what it does really feel like to feel safe in our communities, because what we've experienced in the last 8 years under his leadership is a Detroit Police Department chief that will go towards Fox News for right-wing talking points versus to actually hear its constituents and his residents who are saying we feel unsafe.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.